Naomi, you've never lived alone, and there are still many things that need to be handed over to you at the company. I think it makes sense. After all, I don't even eat the food I cook, so I can't just keep ordering takeout. And I just returned to the company, and there are still many things I need to ask Ian. Oh, and there are marshmallows. And I need Ian to help shovel the shit. I nodded and agreed. Immediately, Ian breathed a sigh of relief, and my mother laughed. Who else treats you as a child except Ian? I think my mother's words are wrong, because Ian is obviously a child. In front of me, I really miss the glutinous rice balls that stuck to me every day when I was a child. Although I am very busy at work, I haven't been so fulfilled for a long time. The feeling of constantly killing monsters and leveling up makes me full of energy. I worked overtime for several hours before returning home. The lights in the house were still on, and Ian was waiting for me to come home. I have always been used to waiting for Ethan to come home, but this was the first time someone prepared a meal at home and waited for me to come back. The corners of my mouth rose unconsciously. I walked to the living room and found that Ian had fallen asleep, waiting for me. I tiptoed over with a blanket. I was stunned when I approached. Ian was lying on a single recliner, and there was obviously a lot of extra space. When I lay down, and Ian was like sleeping on a child's recliner, with half of his legs hanging on it. Ian has grown up. I never thought about it that way before. Now I look carefully. Ian has a really good figure. I lowered my eyes, and my eyes were on his chest muscles. I looked very carefully, and I didn't know that Ian had raised his eyes to look at me. How did he get such good skin? White and delicate, it must feel good to touch. Maybe even leave red marks if you use a little more force. His bathrobe is open very low. I can see his half-grandfather's lover. There are traces of fitness, and it is white and bulging. Even the top can see a little bit of tempting pink. Just looking at him, I feel so fragrant. It must be very exciting to bite him like this. Maybe he will even cry. My face flushed instantly when I thought of the picture in my mind. I shook my head frantically, trying to shake out the picture. I must be drunk, and my mind is a little unclear. I just bent down to cover him with a blanket. And when I looked up inadvertently, I suddenly bumped into a pair of bottomless eyes. I was startled, and my center of gravity was unstable, and I fell on Ian. My face was buried in his chest muscles, and the pink near my mouth. My old face flushed, and I wanted to get up from him, but the shaking recliner made it difficult for me to find a point of support. Just when I got up a little, the chair shook, and I fell on Ian's chest again. This was forced to bury my chest, not what I wanted. Ian held my waist with his big hand. He sat up and controlled the shaking of the recliner. Naomi, what are you doing? His voice was still hoarse, as he just woke up. I raised the blanket in my hand to cover my face. Awkwardly, I just wanted to cover you with a blanket. He laughed softly, with his chest shaking. I realized that I was still sitting on his lap. I covered Ian's head with the blanket in anger, quickly climbed off his lap, and ran back to the room. I have mastered the company's business. In the past few days, I felt relaxed and hummed a song while walking, when I suddenly saw Ethan's car in the community parking lot. I just felt unlucky. As I walked, I counted the days until I could go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce certificate. Lucas was blocking the elevator door. Dad asked me to come to you. He was still angry, trying to stop me from being sentimental. He asked me to apologize to you. He turned his head away from me. I'm sorry. Calling Claire mom last time was just a prank, he pouted. Who knows if you really lost your memory? It's okay, I said softly. Lucas turned his head to look at me. His eyes lit up. I watched him continue to speak. Your dad and I have divorced, and you don't have to apologize to me. No matter who you want to call mom in the future, Claire will soon be your new mom. She is a very good person, and you happen to like her very much, and your life will be happier in the future. He followed me all the way to the door of the house, And he didn't intend to leave. Do you have anything else to do? If not, I will close the door. Lucas opened his eyes wide with a look of disbelief. I apologize to you. You didn't forgive me. You will definitely regret it. Lucas looked at me stubbornly with tears in his eyes as I was about to close the door. This was the first time I treated him so coldly and heartlessly. He shouted angrily at the door. How dare you do this to me? When you regain your memory and remember me, don't ask me to forgive you. Even if you kneel down, I won't forgive you. The first time I heard Lucas say this, I hid in my room and cried. Secretly, I kept doubting myself whether I didn't teach him well, why my son didn't like me, and whether I was unworthy of being a mother. But now it's different. I have no fluctuations in my heart. The mother-son relationship between Lucas and me was broken. When he called someone else mom, sometimes I often suspect that Ian is seducing me, but I have no evidence. For example, at this moment, Ian is wearing a casual home outfit and making coffee for me. The soft cotton, white t-shirt and gray pants look like a male college student. No, he really just graduated from college. So youthful, I sighed while lying on the sofa. Look at this hip, this waist. Wow, it's really pleasing to the eye. No wonder they love to keep male models. Ian came over with coffee, and I immediately read the magazine. Seriously, I took the coffee and took a sip. As soon as Ian sat down, Marshmallow jumped on his legs and lay down. My eyes were attracted, watching Marshmallow step on Ian's gray pants. Wait, gray pants? I couldn't help but focus my eyes on a corner so big. Ian leaned close to my ear and swept my earlobe with a whisper. Naomi, what are you looking at? My ears were itchy. My breathing suddenly stagnated, and my eyes wandered everywhere. I said the cat has grown a lot. I blushed and rushed back to the room. I sent a message to my bestie. After Ian lived with me, I felt that he seduced me every day. Should I find a man? My bestie called me excitedly. You finally have your eyes open. You just discovered that. Such a handsome guy has liked you for so many years. I was confused. Does he like me? I thought he always treated me as a sister. I covered my chest. I didn't know where the joy at this moment came from. This is nonsense. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that he likes you. You don't know that he pretends to be a little white rabbit in front of you and looks like a big bad wolf outside, which can scare people to death. What do you think? Since you are divorced, consider Ian. He is much better than that scumbag. I am very confused now. The company's affairs are enough to keep me busy. I don't want to think about anything else. After hanging up the phone with my bestie in a hurry, another call came in. I answered it. It was Ethan. Naomi. Lucas has a fever and is crying for you. Can you go home to see him? The voice from the other end of the phone was inexplicably pleading. I walked to the balcony, enjoying the breeze. I said softly, Ethan, I've called you several times like this. This is my first time being a mother. And every time my baby is sick, I panic and don't know what to do. Even though the family doctor was there, I still called Ethan with trembling hands, crying and wanting him to come home. But what was his reaction at that time? His cold voice seemed to still echo in my ears. You said you can't take care of yourself. But how can you not take care of Lucas, Naomi? His voice was, you make sense. So now I just want to take care of myself. Naomi, have you recovered your memory? His voice was more cautious than I had ever heard. I didn't lose my memory from beginning to end. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau in a month. And don't think that I will come back to you after I recover my memory. I said it word by word. There is no possibility between us anymore. There seemed to be a sound of glass breaking over there. I hung up the phone without waiting for him to speak, and blocked his phone number, by the way, and contacted him again in a month. From that day on, I began to see Ethan frequently, but he just sat in the car and looked at me quietly, and did not disturb my life. Maybe it was unwilling. Maybe it was the bad factors of men, thinking that what they can't get is the best. In short, when I see Ethan now, I just treat him as a stranger passing by. Today is Sunday, and when I opened the door, I saw Lucas coming with a big photo album. He was very familiar, squeezed in directly through the crack of the door, and sat on the sofa. He completely forgot that. He asked me to kneel down and beg for his forgiveness. When he came to see me last time, Lucas opened the photo album and pulled me over. Mom, look, this is me when I was still in your belly. And this is a photo of me when I was just born. Isn't it cute? Grandma said. I was the cutest baby in the whole hospital. He wanted to awaken my maternal love for him. But when I looked at my photos, I only felt heartache. For me at that time, I was very thin in the photo, but my belly was bulging. At that time, I was tortured by pregnancy reactions and vomited everything I ate. I was very haggard. My hair was dry. And Lucas was very naughty, and always liked to kick me in the middle of the night. I looked at the photos and couldn't help but sigh. So selfish, Mom, what did you say? Lucas looked at me and, I am weak and thin in the photo because of pregnancy. And you only focus on yourself. You don't know how hard it is for me to give birth to you. After 10 months of pregnancy, Lucas will not empathize with me. He will not understand my dedication to him. He is a sophisticated egoist like his father. I closed the album. Go. These photos only remind me of some painful memories. Lucas refused to leave, and was finally taken away by Pei's housekeeper. After leaving last time, Lucas was very unwilling. A few days later, he came to me again with a ceramic plate. Mom, look, this is the plate you made for me. You said you made it for a whole day. Oh, then why is it broken? He hesitated, but I know he broke it. He thought it was too ugly, and it would be embarrassing to take it to school. The splashed ceramic fragment scratched my arm, and there is still an indelible fine mark. I don't have much artistic talent. This ceramic plate is the best looking among the dozen or so I made. Finally, Ethan bought him an artist's work and asked him to take it to school. And this one I glued it together bit by bit. But no matter what it is, once there is a crack, it can never be repaired. This is already a defective product. I threw it into the trash can, and it broke into pieces in an instant. Since there is a new replacement, there is no need to keep this one. Lucas looked at the broken plate and froze. Then he thought of something and looked up at me. Happily, Mom, did you recover your memory and remember me? I shook my head. I didn't lose my memory. I just don't want to think about you and Ethan anymore. I didn't plan to say anything more to Lucas, and drove him out. Lucas left in a daze. There was a social gathering at the wine table in the evening, and Ian knew about it and insisted on coming. He was afraid that I would drink too much, but it turned out that he could not drink more. Both of us drank and couldn't drive. This place is very close to home. I supported Ian and planned to walk back, just in time to blow the cold wind, to sober up while he was drunk. I pretended to ask him casually, Ian, do you like me? His dark eyes suddenly lit up, and he looked at me silently for a long time, then suddenly looked away, blushing and nodding heavily. My heart was pounding, and I changed the subject. What did you drink just now? He thought for a while. It seems to be brandy, really. Bend down. He obediently bent down and looked down at me. His lips were tender and full with beautiful beads. I leaned over and kissed him. They were so soft, like marshmallows with a liquor filling, and I licked my lips to savor them. Ian opened his eyes wide, drunk and stunned. I said nonchalantly, yeah, it's really brandy. I walked forward, leaving Ian frozen in place, with a blush spreading to his ears. Ian quickly caught up with me and hugged me tightly, slightly bending his body to surround me, burying his head in my neck as happy as a child. He kept muttering, Naomi, I like you so much. As soon as I got home, Ian seemed to sober up and pressed me against the door. Naomi, can I kiss you? When he saw me nod, he was like a puppy seeing a meat bone. His eyes were terribly hot. He kissed all the way to the bed. He pecked my collarbone lightly, and as if he felt my trembling, he stopped. He leaned close to my ear and said in a moist, Naomi, stop pushing me away. In the dark, Ian buckled his belt. At the party organized by Ethan's friends, Ethan was drinking silently. He caught the gossiping conversations of the people around him. Suddenly, with a bang, Ethan overturned the table beside him. What did you say? Ian is just the adopted son of the Shin family. He has always liked Naomi. Ethan's face sank instantly, and his voice was colder than ever before. Ethan was very angry. His eyes were red, and he threw all the bottles on the table to the ground. The air around him was stagnant. Several people saw Ethan get angry for the first time, and they trembled and dared not speak. Ethan suddenly thought of a fatal question. Ian had never called him brother-in-law, nor had he ever called Naomi sister. Ethan immediately drove to Ian's company. As soon as he entered the office, he grabbed Ian's collar and punched him. Ethan gritted his teeth. You are really great. I treat you as my brother-in-law, but you actually like your sister. Ian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled contemptuously. You are worthy of being my brother-in-law. Open the communication and look at the chat history with me. Although Ethan was puzzled, he still opened his mobile phone and searched for Ian's chat page. He found it quickly, because Ethan would find him every once in a while. Ethan looked through the chat history, his face getting paler and paler. Accompany your sister to do a prenatal checkup. She has severe pregnancy reflexes and refuses to eat. At home, come over. She is depressed after giving birth. If you have time, accompany her to play abroad. I don't have time. Naomi has a fever. Naomi is throwing a tantrum again. I don't have time to deal with her. Please go and look after her. Naomi was in a car accident. Please take care of her. Ian responded to every message immediately. Ian never took the initiative to look for him, nor did he take the initiative to see Naomi. It was all Ethan who proposed it. In this marriage, Ian accompanied Naomi to 14 prenatal checkups. He asked Ian to accompany Naomi countless times. When Naomi was sad, Ian completely played the role of husband in their marriage, and he realized it belatedly. He always lamented the good relationship between the siblings before. Ian is the CEO of a listed company, but as long as he sends a message about Naomi, he will immediately drop his work and come over. Ethan's hands were shaking as he flipped through the chat history, and Ian punched Ethan fiercely. Ethan didn't dodge and was hit hard, staggering against the wall. Ian looked at Ethan coldly. What do you think after reading it? I have wanted to punch you for a long time. I asked you where you were when Naomi was in labor. Ian answered for him. My wife and children were missing, and you were watching Claire's music performance abroad. I asked you why she had a car accident. You left her on the highway. For Claire. Where were you when she was sick and uncomfortable? When you left her again and again? Did you ever think that she was your wife? There was a hint of bitterness at the corner of Ethan's mouth. He wanted to refute, but these were all facts. As if a pair of hands were strangling his neck, like a thorn in his throat, and his mind was blank. When I heard from my assistant that Ethan came to the company, looking for Ian, in a rage I immediately called the security guard to go to the top floor office. Ethan, what are you doing? As soon as I got out of the elevator, I saw Ethan grabbing Ian's collar in anger. The security guard stepped forward to stop Ethan, and I stood in front of Ian. Ian's swollen mouth was particularly obvious on his fair face, and tears welled up in his eyes, looking pitiful. I touched his face with heartache. Is this your upbringing? I looked at Ethan calmly. Ethan's body swayed, because he saw disgust for him in my eyes. Naomi, I'm hurt too. I turned my eyes away and left with Ian. Security, send him away. And don't let irrelevant people into the company. In the future, Ethan asked Lucas to come to me again. Maybe he wanted to use my motherly love for Lucas to keep me. But I am no longer the same as before. Little friend, don't come to me again. I have divorced your father, and I am no longer your mother. Lucas panicked when he heard what I called him. Mom, I want to eat the dark food you cook. I want you to tell me bedtime stories. And I want you to hold me while I sleep. Lucas, anyone can do this. You're just not used to me not being by your side. I turned around and tried to leave. Lucas grabbed my skirt, his voice choking. No, Mom, I really know I was wrong. That day was just a prank of mine. I don't like Aunt Claire at all. I promise I won't do it again next time. Dad is a liar, he said. You would come back after you regain your memory. But you clearly remember me. But you don't want me anymore. Grandma Wang told me that. It was very hard for Mom when she was pregnant with me. I was too bad when I was a child, and always made Mom angry. I looked down at him. Lucas, never wait until you lose something to know how to cherish it. Lucas hugged my thighs with tears in his eyes. Mom, did I lose you? This is the last lesson I teach you as your mother. I hope you will not speak ill of the people you love, or the people who love you. In the future, you must learn to respect others, and then others will respect you. People will leave when they are hurt. Lucas cried with tears and snot, kneeling on the ground holding my skirt tightly. Mom, give me another chance. I will definitely change my bad habits. I won't be like Dad. Please believe me, I am your baby. I helped him up. Lucas, your father and I have separated. I will never go back to that house again. He wiped his tears. Mom, if you don't want Dad, then I don't want Dad either. If you don't come to see me, then can I still come to see you in the future? I promise to be good. It's your freedom. People can never teach people, but things can teach people once. Without unforgettable, there will be no great enlightenment. I just hope that Lucas can put aside his arrogance and prejudice. In the future, be a good person and don't let those who love him down. Don't follow his father's path again. I signed a big order at a client company, and when I was about to drive back, I met Claire. She invited me to have a drink in the cafe. Naomi, last time in the hospital, I thought Lucas was testing whether you really had lost your memory, so I didn't refute him. I really need to apologize to you for this. I shouldn't have interfered in your and Ethan's lives. And I shouldn't have been tempted by money and become Lucas' teacher. Claire lowered her. You're not the reason why Ethan and I divorced. You don't have to blame yourself. I know you are not that kind of person. I still owe Claire a favor. Claire came to our class briefly in the second year of high school. At that time, Claire's status in the Beijing circle could be regarded as the little princess of the Beijing circle. But she was not arrogant or impatient. She always smiled gently at people, and her core was very stable. I was very vain at the age of 17, and wanted to fit in with Ethan's circle very much. I was often laughed at by them, but Claire did not. She told me that only when you focus on yourself, the center of the universe will revolve around you. It turns out that she really sees things much better than I do. I quit that job after you left. I figured it out. I can't keep living on the pity of the Pei family. I need to become stronger. I turned on my phone and transferred a file to Claire. In order to repay Claire's favor, I secretly investigated Wen's. Wen's is already a century-old enterprise. It can no longer be described as rich. Expensive is more appropriate. The overnight collapse is indeed suspicious. I helped her find some small actions of her relatives. Abroad, she can handle the rest by herself. The probability of the one family turning over is still quite high. After all, the family background is there. Even a lean camel is bigger than a horse. Claire was very grateful to me when she saw the file, and suddenly thought of Ethan again. Then you and Ethan. I pointed out the window. Ian was standing outside in a gray coat, waiting for me patiently. She smiled sincerely. I wish you happiness. Ethan is really not worth it. Claire left and she said that Ethan had something to talk to me about. Ethan told me in detail about the good old days between him and me. I interrupted him. You can go back to the past, but there's no one there anymore. Ethan grabbed my hand, his voice choking. Naomi, I'm sure now that the person I love is you. Only you. I let go of his hand. I spoke seriously. Love doesn't need to be confirmed. Only unconfirmed love needs repeated confirmation. He continued to try to keep me. Naomi, tomorrow is my birthday. You always make me a bowl of longevity noodles. On my birthday. I asked him back. Ethan, did you know that last Sunday was my birthday? Ethan pursed his lips slightly, thought for a few moments, and his face was full of regret. Look, the person you love most is actually yourself. I'm sorry. I will make up for you. To have the most grand birthday party. I shook my head. This is no longer a birthday thing. No need, Ethan, you still don't understand. If you miss it, you miss it. I have made an appointment. Go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to get the divorce certificate. After leaving you, I finally learned to love myself. So please don't disturb my life anymore. I turned around and ran to Ian. He has been waiting for me in the cold wind for a long time. I won't let him wait for me anymore. Ethan, the moment I received the divorce certificate was when I really realized that I had lost Naomi. Before that, even on the day of signing the divorce agreement, I was fearless. I have always believed that after Naomi regained her memory, we can still be like before. But I didn't expect that. She didn't lose her memory from beginning to end. I instantly fell into a huge panic, and it seemed that something slipped away from my heart. People are always creatures who are slow to realize things, and they have to wait until they lose something to truly understand the meaning of cherishing. I began to look through her previous circle of friends and the daily life she shared with me before. I couldn't help laughing when I saw her vividly describing some things to me in the chat records. It turned out that the messages she sent to me before were so interesting. It's just that most of the chat records are long strings of messages she sent, but I rarely replied and even rarely read them. Slowly, she began to send me fewer daily messages, and even stopped sending me messages on her own initiative. People's desire to share will not disappear, but will only shift. So she began to confide in Ian about the little things in her life. Unknowingly, Ian had penetrated into Naomi's life in every possible way, and I didn't care, thinking that they were just good siblings. I always enjoyed her kindness to me, used to being loved, always enjoying it. I thought she would never leave. It wasn't until I really lost her that I suddenly realized. It turned out that I loved Naomi, but Naomi was gone. Lucas also left. He said he was going to boarding school. He didn't want to hire someone to take care of her. He said he could take care of himself. After Lucas left, I was the only one left in the big house. It didn't feel like a home anymore. There was no warmth. Naomi was so cruel. She didn't leave me anything of hers. Sometimes I envy Lucas. At least he can see his mother every week and call her. And I can only drink every day to numb my nerves. The image of her by my side kept lingering in my mind. I feel so guilty and regretful, and hate myself for missing so many opportunities. I feel so heartbroken every night, because I obviously met her who loved me so much a long time ago. I could be very happy, but I ruined it all. Looking through the only photo of us together when we got married, tears just flowed down. Why didn't my future self travel back to 6 years ago to tell Ethan not to hurt her, not to push her away, and not to let her go? If I had another chance, I would definitely hold her hand tightly, and even death could not separate us. Unfortunately, there is no if she is getting married. She was my wife a few months ago. I was in a mess. How could this happen? I told Lucas about his mother's marriage to Ian. I thought he would feel as miserable as I did, because his mother had abandoned us. Lucas was not sad. He was happy for his mother. Mom is very happy with Uncle. I hope she can be happy. Yes, even children know that.